in Rome, at the Templeton Prize was being awarded to Dr. Bright of $1 million, and it was held in the oldest Catholic church, the ceremony, and then Mr. Templeton arranged this private meeting with Pope John Paul II. And so he asked us to join it, and you know, I was hesitant to do it. So as we came to the location, we recognized there's a long set of stairs ahead of us, and we recognized there's also another group that arrived at the same time we did. And there's somebody in a wheelchair, and you know, they tried to back it up, and then we got 5 steps, and they said, no, just leave it. Well, we said, maybe we can help you. So another person and I just grabbed a hold and helped to carry the wheelchair up those stairs. And you know, the beads of sweat were just, and then I thought my lungs were just going to give in, and it just seemed like forever, because your arms are falling off when you're carrying somebody up some stairs, right? Anyway, we carried him up to the top, and I didn't recognize that there was actually a lot of security, and they had a list of all the guests. And because Dr. Bright had just invited us on the last minute, we weren't on that list. And as we got to that gate, they had watched us do this, and we were totally out of breath, and he said, no, you can just go in. And would you believe there's another set of stairs? And now I'm thinking, you know, I'm not sure if I can do this again. Anyway, we grabbed a hold of the wheelchair and we carried up a second set of stairs, and lo and behold, there's another security guards with a list of names of how they're allowing to come in, and we're not on that list. And they again watched us, and they again waved us through. We go up to the level where the room is, where this private meeting with the Pope is going to be held. And as we come into this room, again, there's security people there, and they have a list of all the guests, and they look at it, you know, and they're looking at this page every which way, and what did you say your name was? You know, and all of a sudden they said, no, hey, just get 2 more chairs, and bang, we were part of the meeting. Sometimes when God leads you, you just stumble kind of into a situation, feeling actually very insecure, and kind of thinking like, what am I doing here? And I shouldn't be here, and I should have said no. And then he said, will you trust me? At the end of the meeting, there was a photo time with shaking Pope John Paul's hand, and everybody was saying something, and I didn't know what to say. And so finally, you know, as I'm shaking his hand, I just said to him, is there any way that I could help you to use the Jesus film in distributing in the Catholic Church? And he says, what's your name? And I said, Marvin. And he turns to his assistant and he said, would you help Marvin to organize this? Bang. It's just like he just totally opened the door, and over 870 million people saw the Jesus video as a result of just a little incident which seemed very insignificant at the time. And then later as you look back and you see that, oh my goodness, you know, when God does it, he does it in style. There was just one miracle after another of God, first of all with Dr. Bright receiving the Templeton Prize, and then going through the security guards, and God just opening one door after another. And in hindsight, as you look back, you realize that how God prepared the way. You know, as we talked to the Pope, he was very aware of the fact is that we'd had this Jesus film showing in Manila, where over 500,000 people came and watched the Jesus film that one night. And so you recognize that God goes before and just constantly has his hand on us, directing us and guiding us. And are we willing to keep doing it? Are we willing to keep trusting him? And that he will give us the courage to do it, you know? Remember in Joshua when he says, be strong and courageous? I think he's always saying that to each one of us, so that we will continue to be strong and courageous to do what he wants us to do, and he will enable us to succeed. And so he opens the door for that to happen, and for that to grow above and beyond what any of us can even think or dream about or even hope for. But that's our God.